School shooting in Michigan.
I'm going to text my family, say I love them.
Police say it was a 15-year-old who turned a gun on his classmates. Could the arrival of Omicron
Greater concerns about the virus could reduce people's willingness to work in person,
derail the economy's pandemic progress? And Tiger Woods, the crash survivor,
I'm lucky to be alive, but also still had the limb.
addressing the end of his days as a full-time golfer. These stories and more coming up on Newsbreak.
Good morning, South Florida. I'm Zitlali Solache.
And I'm Christopher Gomez. Thank you so much for making us a part of your morning. Today's Wednesday, December 1st, 2021.
From the South Florida Media Network's Biscayne-based studios in North Miami, this is SFMN Newsbreak.
Video posted on social media showing another tragedy on campus. This time, the classmate accused of opening fire was just 15 years old. 3 students dead in Oxford, Michigan. Another 8 people were injured.
The network's Valeria Venturini is in the control center with what we've learned overnight.
School bells replaced by police sirens yesterday after a mass shooting at Oxford High School in Oxford, Michigan left 3 students dead. As the investigation begins, authorities now looking for a possible motive.
A lethal shooting rampant turned a school in Michigan into a crime scene.
It's unfortunate I have to report that we have 3 deceased victims right now who are all believed to be students. We have 6 others that were shot. 1 was a school teacher.
Police say the suspected shooter is a 15-year-old male sophomore student at the school.
Multiple shots were fired. He did not give us any resistance when he was taken into custody. He's currently being transported back to Pontiac for potential, he's already invoked his right to not speak, so he wants an attorney. He's not telling us anything at this point in time.
Officials believed there was no active threat after the shooting.
That, again, I believe, interrupted what potentially could have been 7 more victims.
The suspect is still not speaking to law enforcement, according to the county sheriff, and cannot yet be identified due to his age. In the control center, Valeria Venturini, South Florida Media Network.
Thanks, Valeria. Today, the Supreme Court takes up the most important abortion case in a generation, a case that could fundamentally transform Roe v. Wade. CNN's Britt Conway has a look ahead with oral arguments on the Mississippi abortion law, set to begin in D.C. at 10 o'clock this morning.
Jane Roe versus Henry Wade, a case filed in Dallas, Texas 50 years ago. Less than 3 years later, the Supreme Court ruled to affirm abortion rights nationwide. Since then, the case we now know as Roe v. Wade has been at the center of American politics.
Trust women! Trust women! We will abolish abortion!
Now, the justices consider a momentous question. Should Roe v. Wade be overturned? Front and center, a Mississippi law signed in 2018, though it's been blocked by lower courts ever since because it directly conflicts with Roe v. Wade and the 1992 case Planned Parenthood v. Casey. These cases establish the Constitution protects a woman's choice to have an abortion, and states can only ban abortions after the point of viability. That's when a fetus can survive outside the womb. In 1992, the court said that's between 23 and 24 weeks, but the Mississippi law bans abortions after 15 weeks. If the justices uphold the Mississippi law, it would be much easier for states to ban or more seriously restrict abortion rights. With one estimate of 26 states fully banning abortions, seen here in orange, with nearly a half-century of legal precedent built upon Roe v. Wade hanging in the balance. I'm Britt Conway reporting.
The Texas law banning most abortions after about 6 weeks is still in effect. The Supreme Court heard oral arguments last month, but hasn't made a decision yet on the case.
New Omicron variant poses major threats to the U.S. economy. COVID-19 infections have risen and fallen, and so has the U.S.'s economy. Experts warn that Omicron has a potential to undo much of that economic process.
The recent rise in COVID-19 cases and the emergence of the Omicron variant pose downside risks to the employment and economic activity and increased uncertainty for inflation.
Jerome Powell, the head of the Federal Reserve, testified before the Senate Banking Committee. He said that if the pandemic is prolonged by new variants, Americans could expect to see inflation, halted job growth, and even more disruptions in the supply chain.
Today, students in Cuba returned to the classroom for the first time since the start of the pandemic. The communist government there decided to teach students via television until the vaccine was available to all school-aged children. In Cuba, children as young as 2 years old can take the island's homegrown vaccine.
This year's Atlantic hurricane season has proved to be more costly than the last. In 2021, hurricanes cost the U.S. billions of dollars worth of damage, as well as being the top 3 for most U.S. storms. Damages from the 4 of the hurricanes this year cost more than $1 billion each, while Hurricane Ida alone cost around $60 billion worth of damage. Hurricane season ended yesterday.
One famous TV doctor isn't interested in making house calls. Instead, he's running for the U.S. Senate.
That's still ahead, and so is the story.
Someone upstairs was taking care of me, that I'm able to not only be here, but also to walk without a prosthesis.
Tiger Woods addressing his return to golf and saying whatever it is, it won't be like before. Don't go away. Newsbreak will be back in 2 minutes.
Freedom. It's at the core of who we are. The freedom to live without fear, to jog where we please, to wear a hoodie. The freedom to breathe. Before we celebrate the freedom most Americans have, we must fight for the freedom all Americans deserve. Because all lives can't matter until Black lives matter.
Radcliffe Art and Design Incubator is the velocity accompanying the fellow's rudder, as in a boat. Unless there is movement or action, the planned direction is of little consequence. We encourage the creative ideas into action, and from the experience of doing, we critically assess the feedback, adjust, and set out to rediscover the potentialities of an entrepreneurial mindset.
Stem is precise, no margin for error.
Dare to forget that. Dare to have fun with it. Get weird with it. Dare to send those old STEM theories flying past the neighbor's house into outer space. Dare to program something internet-breaking, record-breaking. Dare to blow their minds. Dare to learn the difference between sedimentary and metamorphic rock. Go find those rocks. Dare to keep daring. Dare to STEM. Check out She Can STEM to get started.
Tiger talk. For the first time since the car crash that nearly ended his career, the greatest golfer of all time answers questions from reporters. Tiger Woods holding his first new conference since his car accident.
As the golf legend hosted the Hero World Challenge this week in the Bahamas, a news conference was held yesterday for the 45-year-old. Ever since his car crash earlier this year in February, Tiger's been recovering from serious leg injuries that required he get surgery. He doesn't know when he'll return to his professional golf career, though.
Transition from wheelchair to crutches to now nothing. It's been a lot of hard work. I'm very thankful to all the surgeons and especially the nurses.
Woods says he has a long road to recovery as he regains muscle and nerve development and slowly returns to the golf tour. The professional says, unfortunately, he'll never return full-time to golf.
Famous TV personality and cardiothoracic surgeon Dr. Oz is now running for the U.S. Senate. Dr. Oz announced the news yesterday in an op published in the conservative Washington Examiner. He will be running as Republican for the Pennsylvania Senate seat. Oz now joins a race with 2 other Republican opponents. The winner in the general election will succeed retiring Republican Senator Pat Toomey.
Pretty unexpected. That's all the time we have for Newsbreak. I'm Christopher Gomez.
And I'm Zitlali Solache. Get more news anytime at sfmn.fiu.edu.